Hello and welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz and I am joined today by a couple of my good buddies. We've got Adam Emmert, we've got Clinton Bonner, and we are going to be talking about Klint Kubiak offense. So why don't we kick it off with just saying hi to Adam before we hand it over to Clinton, because this really is something that Clinton really wanted to do a deep dive on, and you and I are basically along for the ride, Adam.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think Clinton's using the tactic that you had to use with my dad if you ever wanted anything in life, and that is you have to put together the presentation. And Clinton has put together the presentation on how Kubiak can lose to a playoff team with nobody, but just barely lose. So prepared to get excited, folks, because I think Clinton's number one goal here, correct me if I'm wrong, Clinton, is to bring the hype train up a little bit. Get me and Brandon a little more excited. Get Brandon up off of that 4 that he threw out on the Kubiak hiding. Yeah.
My 4 was on the process, not the coach. So let me just get that clear and out of the way before we even start.
So what is it on the coach then?
What is it? I think we said in the last show, like a 7.
Yeah, you got back up to a 7. Yeah, flagship was great. Okay. You guys did a good job. All the licorice loving animals attacking people, that had me absolutely dying laughing. And I'm a little concerned. I hate black licorice, so I guess I'm really not too concerned. But you know, who would know that it would cause all these sorts of issues? And then 5 years later, they finally reported. So Brandon, I was with you, my man. It was shocking to me. But yes, Adam, to your point, man, this is all about getting both of you, and I think every other flocker out there, 11 billion% more excited about the prospects of Klint Kubiak. That's mathematically sound. And I remember watching a particular game. We'll just lay out what you're going to see in a second. I remember watching a particular game. It was on TV, and it was right when the Commanders were getting super hot. And it was one of those games where we start doing all the maths for what Seattle needs that week. And it's like, oh, it'd be really cool if the Commanders lose this game. They don't lose the game. Spoiler alert. They win the game 20-19 on a failed 2-point conversion by the Saints with no time left on the clock. They go for it. But I want to show you, how did we get there? Like, what did that game look like? What can we glean? What did we learn from a Klint Kubiak-led offense? And was it Benton, right? The offensive line coach who came over as of today. What do we see from this offensive line from a Saints team that's already out of the playoffs and really devoid of talent, with Spencer Rattler quarterbacking one half of football? And guys, again, I think 11 billion% chance you're going to be more excited. Do you believe?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Fantastic. All right. So going to set this up for everybody, and then we're going to hit some video, which I think you're all going to like. So we did hit 5,000 subscribers. We don't want to stop rocking there. Brandon, you mentioned in the flagship show that we want to now turn a new metric over and get to 500 folks in our Discord. So Brandon, real quick, I want to remind folks, how can they get involved with the Discord and be part of this in the off season?
You can go to getintheflock.com, and it's not necessarily in the Discord because you do have to support the show monetarily to get into the Discord. But we just want to get to 500 members of the flock at getintheflock.com. There's a free tier there. But if you do want to support us too, get in the Discord. That would also be great.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go halfway, you should go the full way. But either way, we want to get to that 500 members. So getintheflock.com. Also out on YouTube. Subscribe. All the like skis, as Adam would say. And all right, guys, that's on screen there. Just want to paint the picture for what we do know about Klint Kubiak. So we got this up on screen at youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Kubiak by the stats. By the way, I like baby cubes. Nice job, guys. I like calling the guy cubes. I dig that. 2021 Vikings, kind of middle of the road, good in yards, 14th in points per game, scored a decent amount of touchdowns, 48 touchdowns. The one that we could see on screen, their third down percentage was not very good. Adam, you and I were talking about this when you were traveling back from Dallas after Shrine Bowl. What did you notice? What do you want to talk about in terms of what did you see with that Vikings offense back from 21 that you think is a good nugget?
Well, there was a decent amount of talent there. Who was a running back at that time? Was it Cook? But Cook was good.
Dalvin, yeah.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook and, Jefferson there at beginning of his career, great year, a Pro Bowl year from Kirk Cousins. And the offense really did its part for the Vikings for the majority of that year. One thing that stood out to me, you brought it up on the flagship, was just time of possession for them. Near the bottom, quarter of the league. I want to say they were like 21st or 23rd or something like that in time of possession. And I wanted to pin that on the defense just because I know that was last year, Mike Zimmer. And the reason why he was canned is because the defense had kind of fallen off from where they had been. And we saw what he did here in Dallas this last year. But that third down percentage at 23rd, maybe that played a factor in time of possession there for them.
Yeah. How about you, Brandon? Anything you saw from that team looking back?
I just the third down conversion stuff is definitely a little bit of a concern, especially when it looks consistent from 21 to 24. But that was a good Vikings team. I think he's pretty consistent. The area that I think we're most concerned about after last season was running the football, and both the 21 Vikings, 24 Saints, they had a star running back. They used that star running back. And I think that is probably the big takeaway when you look across those and what we could see with our Seahawks in 2025.
I like that point. We're going to hit that a little bit later when we look at some Kamara tape and a particular highlight from the game, which was pretty cool. The 2022 Broncos, guys, what can we say? It was a disaster. He gets to take over halfway through the year. He raises the floor kind of back to a middling 20 points a game, essentially. Brandon, Adam, anything else to say about the 2022 Broncos besides thanks for the draft picks? Would be cool.
Hey, look, he took a flaming dumpster fire and managed to guide it all the way down to where they got to the end of the season and then were able to put it out because it finally was the end of the season and move on. And when you think about how much tumult surrounded that season, the idea that he got even a little more out of the offense with as bad as everything was, with as bad as Russ was out of the gate, he started to make Russ look a little better towards the end of the year, to where I think a lot of Broncos fans had some excitement of Sean Payton coming in the next year, what he could do with them, showing what a competent OC could do with an aging Russ. Turned out to be not much, but Klint did a good job, I think, steadying the ship of a disaster and making the most of it.
Yeah. So he was dealing with the Let's Ride curse that season, and he did happen to navigate the Broncos. He showed us that he could be better, but then also continue to lose just enough so he could have our draft pick. Although late in the season, I guess you could say that he is responsible for us not getting a top 4 draft pick and instead leaving us with Devin Witherspoon. So yeah, it could have been much worse. And so maybe we have him to blame a little bit.
I like that. This is a long play by Klint Kubiak because he knew eventually he'd be ROC. I like, guys, very, very smart. I like where you're getting at there. And then the 2024 Saints, I think it's really tough to gauge. They lose Carr. They have backup quarterbacks for the most of the year. They have 9 different offensive linemen playing. They lose their center, who's really good for a while. Any other gleanings from 2024, or is it just, hey, it's a kind of to our benefit that things didn't work out in New Orleans? Anything else you could take away from it, Brandon?
I don't know if I have any huge takeaways other than, it was a tumultuous year. The head coach gets fired. I don't know if it's necessarily, we'll know that if it's for our benefit after a year and even 2. I think what we have to say too is that we've got to give this 2 years. Like, this can't be another one and done type year for the offensive coordinator, because now we're bringing in a dude who has legit NFL experience. Like, you've got to give it 2 years.
Well, one thing that is kind of alarming when you look at this, 21 Vikings becomes the OC, gets his head coach fired. 2022, he ends up taking over, head coach gets fired. 2024 at the Saints becomes the OC, can't save the head coach, he gets fired. Is Klint Kubiak a coach killer?
Coach killer. Well, we
I say that mainly in jest. All right, people. Right. Anybody who thinks I'm saying that seriously,
we hope not. I choose to believe he's just been kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time until now, right? So, and I did want to show this as well quickly that
how come he couldn't get Shanahan fired in San Francisco?
He's about to do that himself. Don't worry about that. One more poor year for those Niners, and I think Shanahan will be outski. All right, so. Want to look at this offensive line because we're going to look at this during the film quite a bit. And I want folks focused on what they're seeing from this line as well. The key here is that Eric McCoy is a really good center. He's playing the game in the All-22 we're about to go review. The key is that he missed most of the season. He was out for huge chunks of the season. He was back for this game, back towards the end of the year. And then on the flanks here with Fuaga and Penning, you have 2 first-round picks, albeit one a rookie at left tackle with Fuaga, and then Penning, a high draft pick from about, 4 or 5 years ago now at this point. And then the kind of just a muddling of like Laken Tomlinson level dudes at guard. But yet, guys, I wanted to peel this out and they were 22nd in pressure rate. They were 22nd in running back yards before contact at 0.82. And then you could see in action green, that's Seattle stats. How much markedly worse Seattle's offensive line was than this offensive line. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly. I just kind of want to put the facts out there as we start to digest some of this tape. Adam, any gleanings from just how bad we look compared to a bad offensive line?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because these are the day one starters, right? Like these weren't the guys that they end up playing a lot of.
These are the guys that play this game, the game we're about to watch.
Yep. Okay. All right. Because I think Cesar Ruiz was one of their starters. I'm not sure about Lucas Patrick.
Cesar Ruiz kicked to center when McCoy got hurt during the year and then moved back to guard. And because they had a bunch of dudes moving in and out of the lineup.
And then the Trevor Penning thing, I know he has a high draft pedigree, but been a guy that has been underwhelming for the Saints. And I think most Saints fans are a little disappointed in what they've gotten out of him in comparison to the draft capital. Fuaga is a guy that a lot of people have been excited about. Had some ups and downs this year, but I think he did okay. But I mean, that's not murderer's row. That's for sure. I mean, short of the center. And I guess they got a little more out of it than we got out of an offensive line that arguably has more talent when Lucas is in the lineup.
I think that might be the lesson for me. And Brandon, again, is this about raising a floor of dudes that are, this is not the Green Bay Packers offensive line or the Detroit Lions offensive line. And yet they were still at least pretty competent as an offense. They did some things. What do you think?
Yeah, you're telling me that other teams also have a hard time putting together offensive lines? It's not just our Seahawks and a John Schneider issue? That's weird.
Yeah, yes, and they perform better. Which is something. So, and then the last thing I wanted to show as we get ready to watch some of the film is I just want folks to look at these names. On the left-hand side, you get the Saints when they're in most times when they're in 12 personnel, of course, meaning 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. The right-hand side, 11 personnel, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers. And when you look at those wide receivers, Dante Pettis, you're like, oh, he's still in the league. Kevin Austin Jr., MVS, who was their number 1 at this point, who they picked up when Rashid Shaheed got hurt, who was their number 1 after Chris Olave got hurt. This is not a very it's talent devoid in many ways. And oh, by the way, Adam, QBing only the second half of the game we're about to watch is Spencer Rattler, because what was Jake Haener? Jake Haener quarterback the first half that we're not going to watch because many, many reasons. This is not a very talented football team we're about to watch.
It certainly isn't. And I think one of the things that when we're talking about the injuries that the Saints went through throughout the year, obviously the Olave injury is a big deal, but I think the Shaheed injury might even be bigger. He was really the guy that took the top off of defenses for them. And I really feel like once he was gone, and he was gone fairly early, I think that handcuffs you quite a bit in terms of your play calling. You're going to be living in the short and intermediate stuff a little bit more than maybe you wanted to. And you don't have that guy to, send deep after you run play action. But yeah, this is the B squad. No doubt about it. The JV that they trotted out there.
I would say though, with the offensive line, like there's at least like all the interior guys, I would probably take over any of our interior guys.
I think they're very similar, at least from a PFF standpoint. And by the way, I think the Saints team outperformed our offensive line, but I also think that's the reasons that we get excited, because we did just go get their offensive line coach and the coordinator, who I think did the whole point of this is to set up the fact that I think they did a good job, making some lemonade out of some lemons, guys. And I think we're going to see that on film here. So with all that, are you boys ready to watch the film?
Let's do it.
So to set the stage, it is 17-0 Commanders. It's 14-0 Commanders at the half. Saints have done nothing whatsoever. Commanders get the ball. They march, 6 minutes or so, and they kick a field goal to go up 17-0. All right, so it's 17-0. There's about 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, and then Spencer Rattler comes in and begins. So first play, we're going to see Rattler in shotgun. That's Pettis in motion. He's in shotgun. Good protection. Ball's out on time. Nice completion to Pettis. And what we'll do here is, what I wanted to show on this one is you got Kamara and Pettis on kind of these duo curls together. And what I liked there quickly, guys, is a little bit of spacing. And we got the All-22 here. Good pocket. That's actually a nice pocket. Ball's on time, a little bit behind him. Pettis makes a nice play. But first play to look at, good spacing. Seahawks, last couple of years have had some spacing challenges, but a nice concept. Get Rattler going, and away they go. We have 14 more plays to go through. So do you guys want to, you let me know when you want to chime in, but that's just getting going. Any comments so far?
Let's keep rolling.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Same drive, 5:50 to go. Q3. This entire play is set up. So there's been some like middling plays, there's some penalties that help the Saints out on this drive. This first drive is okay. Not the cherry on top we're going to look at later. But Q3, 5:50 to go in that same drive. This play, guys, for me was what I like when Kubiak was 100% dedicated to getting his very best player into an advantageous situation. So we looked at those rosters earlier. Who's the very best player on this Saints team by a long shot on offense?
Alvin Kamara.
Jake Haener comes back in the game. No, it is Alvin Kamara. And so what we're going to see here is a really nice, it's a trick play. So like, oh, great, a trick play. What is that really showing you? Well, I highlight Frankie Luvu there. He bites. It's a toss back to Cedric Wilson. Touchdown, beautiful pass. He does get both feet in. They reviewed. He gets both feet. It's actually really cool. But what I want to show here as well is, and I'll slow it down and bring it back, is, and look how wide open he is. But really, really cool part for me is the Saints will put on film in different parts of the year. I'll pause right there. The Saints will put on film that they will motion their tight end, in this case, Foster Moreau, who I would love to get on our team as one of our 3 tight ends. They will motion to the strong side and run to the weak side. They showed it in games previous. They showed it in this game. So what I think you see here, best I could, kind of look at it, is that Frankie Luvu, who I like a whole lot, Frankie Luvu bites on this. He thinks Kamara is getting the ball very effectively. And what happens is Kubiak gets exactly what he wants. He gets a trick play where Kamara is lined up versus Luvu, who's a heck of a linebacker. And then also you can see here, look at the protection. This is the Great Wall here, man. They put the Great Wall of China up to say, we're going to get our shot. And if it's not there, throw the ball away. So as much as you could glean from a trick play, guys, I liked getting your best player a shot against the linebacker. Any thoughts?
And it's against Luvu, who I think on the edge there, he's kind of licking his chops, thinking that he's going to come in unblocked. Obviously, he knows that he has to either carry Kamara then if he goes out in a pass pattern, but unable to. It is a mismatch there because you can see how Kamara's pulling away at the end and creating space to get that touchdown.
Yeah, I know it's a trick play. Adam, still working for you? What do you think?
Yeah, a play concept that you're going to use once a year. So that's cool. A great one-handed stab by Kamara there. Now, the other part of it is there's a bunch of other plays from this game too, where you could tell Kubiak really was force feeding Alvin Kamara. And I mean, it's what other options do they have? So you do like to see that. And it gives you a little hope for maybe what they do with K9.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think it was set up for success. And I went back and looked, Cedric Wilson, who threw the pass there. I was like, this guy, it's a beautiful pass too. So this guy played quarterback. Turns out, indeed, he did. He was the high school quarterback. So, which is kind of cool. So they had a dude who could throw the ball. Don't try that.
JSN retired from passing. So we won't be able to use him next year.
Thank the maker. Good. Don't let JSN do it. And don't bring back DJ Dallas either. Let's not do those things. Find somebody else who could throw a ball, or just let Geno do it. That'd be cool too. All right. Next play we're going to go to, guys, is now it's 20-7. So they score on that. They score on the touchdown we just saw to make it 17-7. Commanders get the ball. They put together a pretty long drive. They get a field goal. It's 20-7. Okay. Pop quiz for you guys. Brandon, when we got down big in the fourth quarter, what did we basically never do when we got down in the fourth quarter, or
when we played football against other teams? What didn't we do? We did not run the football. The thing you're getting at is running the football.
There you go. We did not run the football, right? So what I like here is that it's 20-7, and there's no panic. Now, I realize Spencer Rattler, I get that. And you could say, oh, would he have done that if Carr's in the game? Hard telling, not knowing, to borrow a line from Adam. But what I could say is, look, 13:54 to go. We're going to look at a run left here. They're down 13. No panic. No panic. Zone blocking, getting out there. Nice 9 yards. We're going to see it again. And then we're going to look at another run play. But guys getting easily to the second level, getting seals on the outside. Good blocking by the wide receivers. Saw that throughout the game, by the way. And then we just go right into another run play here. Guys, to me, this one was like, you might as well clip the Gary Kubiak 97-98 Broncos out and show me this. And it might as well be Terrell Davis and Stink Schlereth, because that is exactly what this looks like to me. So I wanted to park there for a second with those back-to-back runs. Adam, any takeaways from what you're seeing here with this kind of late 90s running style we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it originated in the late 90s, but it is the part of the running scheme that a lot of these teams have leaned into for decades now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got a zone blocking scheme going on here. I have a hard time telling the difference between inside zone and outside zone. The interesting thing is the double team at the point of the attack.
Yep.
In the zone blocking scheme. Yeah, I don't notice that often. Maybe that happens more than I know, but that's creative.
Yeah. How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I think inside zone, outside zone, it's the direction or the running back where they kind of are directed for their point of attack, right? Because if it's outside zone, they're kind of looking to go off a tackle, and if it's inside zone, it's a different area that they're attacking first. At least how I understand it. Anyway,
no, I think you're right.
Yeah. So I think another good play here. Where do they go from here?
So they're not panicking. They're running the ball. They're looking like the late 90s Broncos. I'm saying this is pretty cool. Then they stall a bit, but I want to show why do they stall, and not everything is a winning play here, and what happens. But conceptually, was it smart? Conceptually, could it have worked? And I think so. So now they're later in the same drive. They're at a 2nd and 16. They had, I think it was just a 6-yard loss, not a penalty on a draw the play before. You'll see they're kind of down the red zone, I think. And we get this rare 4 wide that they don't use much in this game whatsoever. And on a 2nd and 16, they just go to some easy plays, and it's just a slant to the outside trying to get, I think it's MVS. Now it gets batted down by Jazeer Newton, but what I want to show is on 2nd and 17, it's open. This is open. Okay. Nicely formed up, balls out. It's a slant. Every team runs this. There's no reason to, spend too much time on that. However, I like conceptually that 2nd and 16, you're looking to get 8, 9, 10, 11 easy yards and set yourself up for a 3rd and manageable. Okay. The ball gets batted down, and that's that. No big deal. The next play is 3rd and 16. Again, the result of the play is a batted down ball. Okay. So giving away that, but concept wise, what are we running here? And highlighting. Oh, you know what? I was highlighting Wagner on the play before because Moreau was also open if the first read was not there. This is the third down play. So 3rd and 16, just targeting the outside. It's open once again. It just gets batted down, guys. So really the point of this was simply to show 2nd and 16, 3rd and 16, balls out, balls on time, 2 nice defensive plays. You tip your cap. But I liked what Kubiak was trying to do in both occasions. Adam, any thoughts on those?
Well, just a strategy of trying to pick up a few, make it 3rd and somewhat manageable. That's nice. I also like the idea that there were some options available to the quarterback quickly,
right?
In case they were blitzed, in case the number one thing you can't do here is give up a sack.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that I got frustrated with Grubb with is on a lot of the passing concepts, like there's a stuff like deep downfield that he's waiting on all the time, Geno. And it's like, good Lord, just give the kid something that can, you can get the ball out of his hand, make it easy on him. And yeah, it worked out. And they did. They brought 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they brought 5 on that play.
Yeah, these are the 2 back-to-back plays. So I went back a little too far. One was 4, one was 5. But still, to your point, I love that point that it was, again, whether it's Spencer Rattler or not, the ball's out quickly. It is on time. And they're schemed open. It's just, I mean, you got a real nice player by Jazir Newton, their 1st-round pick, and then Deron Payne, who was a heck of a down lineman. Brandon, any gleanings on what are essentially 2 batted down passes?
Oh, I think those plays show you too that based on talent, would those plays have gone a little bit differently? You could argue, yes.
Correct. And that's that. So I liked it. They kick a field goal. All right. That's not so bad. So now it's 20-10. They force a punt. They get the ball back. We're going to pick it up. You're going to see 11 personnel. You're going to see Foster Moreau. He's in motion here going left to right on screen. Wagner's going to move with him. And they're pinned pretty deep. This is a really nice play. And what you're going to see is, I'm going to highlight Luvu in a bit too. He senses and sees like an A-gap blitz from Luvu. And this is just, I think, Kubiak. I think he picked on Wagner quite a bit in this game. And here's one of those instances. And nice scheme, nice spacing. That combination I'm highlighting on purpose. Luvu is going to blitz. Moreau, boom, like nice 19-yard gain. And we're going to see it a couple more times here as well. And again, what I like here is in motion, Wagner follows. He sees Luvu coming up. And this is kind of easy pickings. Ball's out. He takes a sick hit. And then the last thing I want to point out here too, guys, is the wheel route that Kendre Miller does draws a safety over and just a little space. So good spatial concepts, good understanding of who to pick on. Wagner's a heck of a linebacker. Still going to have a hard time covering dudes going laterally. Klint Kubiak, I think, was exposing that. Brandon, anything you see in there you like?
Yeah, backed up against your end zone, getting the ball out quickly, especially against the blitz. Effective way to do it there, attacking right in the middle of the field.
Yeah. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, so this is a good coaching point right here for a young quarterback. You're getting blitzed right up the A-gap. Yep. And what do you do when you're getting blitzed as a quarterback? You throw right where the blitzer came from. Mm-hmm. And so Spencer Rattler, in an instant, because of good coaching, knew exactly where to go with the football. I don't love the combination route of the back and the tight end because that's not a wheel route. That's a Texas route. So as he busts out here and then cuts back inside, now you're putting 2 receivers right in the same area of the field. And I'm not in love with that.
I thought he gave him because he goes pretty wide. So I think
he gave a route.
Okay. Yep. I thought he gave enough spacing. That was the part that I was looking at, that he gave enough spacing there to draw. Cause you watch 22, it does the trick, that little, he's off screen and opens up a little bit of space, enough spacing there. And I guess that's what I was calling out. I realized they do end up in the same area, but by the time the ball's out, I don't think it mattered. It was the way I was.
Well, let's say they don't blitz.
Right.
Now you got 2 dudes that are running into the same space right there. I don't know. I don't love it. Maybe they're trying to get to a natural rub here and kind of run like some sort of some sort of mesh is kind of the idea. You get a natural pick there. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. If Bobby carries him a little bit deeper and then the backs open underneath with a little bit more space.
Yeah. But effective play, and Foster Moreau is a pretty good tight end, and I want him to be a Seahawk. All right, so same drive, 21 personnel, which we got 2 running backs, one of them being a fullback and a tight end. I think this is probably the prettiest play of the game. You're going to see 2 wide receivers, bottom right, Kevin Austin and MVS in the slot, and you're going to see the fullback motion. And I think that's to kind of draw out what type of coverage they're seeing, and I think it's pretty effective. He motions to the right, comes back to the left. And then I actually DM'd Griff Sturgeon about this. I said, what would you call this? And the wide receivers. And he would said you would either call it a switch dagger or a switch release clear out. So thank you to Griff Sturgeon of the, what's their name of their podcast?
Seattle Overload.
The Overload podcast, guys. Yeah, thank you. So thanks to Griff Sturgeon for, answering me back there saying, yeah, this is a switch release. And watch the switch release down here. You got Prentice in motion, comes back across. And this is a nice play, guys. Nicely set up, on time. And these are the types of things where I'm like, oh man, DK plus JSN, and imagining it's them. And here you got Luvu. He should be dropping with like a drop hook even deeper. But I think what happens is he's kind of got to honor that Bobby is one-on-one with the running back. And you can see he does it. He should be getting 7 or 8 yards deep is my understanding of like what a hook drop should be. He doesn't. He gets like 5 yards. He's got to go spy and see if he can help out Bobby. And then you're like, well, what does it really matter? The All-22 shows you how close he was. So there's one more view of that to kind of show you what I was looking at. So Luvu is dialing in. And I think he's peeking down. Like you can see right there, he's peeking down at what Bobby's got going on. Cuts underneath. And then you'll see the All-22 in a second as well. If he drops 2 more yards, this might be a pick that Rattler does not see him whatsoever.
It's almost a tip just as it is.
Correct. And this is a great angle of it. So it's right there, but it's on time. Nice play. And just something, guys, that I thought I watched this and said, oh, I could see Geno doing that. I could see Geno running this all day long. Brandon, JSN, DK, swap those guys out. Can you see it?
I mean, I think this is a concept that we've seen with Grubb. I feel like it's relatively common that we see concepts like these, whether it's Kubiak or any of the offensive coordinators that we've had. So can I see us using it? Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Adam? Do you like this play in general and anything in particular?
It's interesting that they start out with a 2-back set and then bring the fullback down and set him on the one end of the line of scrimmage and then actually motion him twice.
Yeah.
And just to be sure, he's giving the quarterback a key here to see if you're going to be in man or zone. And you see that Wagner doesn't follow 46. And so at that point, it's zone and you're going to have a backside window here on the dagger. And you're right about the switch release part. This is something that we struggled with during Legion of the Boom era at times where teams were running tons of switch releases, and it puts zone defenders in a bind a lot of times. So it happened to be the right play call for the right time. And you basically get, 3 on 2. Interesting on the bottom there. But yeah, he does create space there on the backside dagger. And honestly, I'd like to see Rattler wait another beat on that, because then the receiver would have cleared Luvu easily and you've got even a bigger window to throw through.
Yeah, nice point there as well. And I thought so too when I was watching Prentice, the fullback, do the double motion thing. My gut was like, oh, he's trying to gain some key, and I think that's exactly what he gained. That they're in, some form of man. I know there's different types of mans and different quarters.
This is zone. This is straight up zone.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you guys, because that's still a part where I have a little bit hard time, parsing those things as I look. But nice play. Was excited to see this. But you said the key terminology also about space. I think Kubiak creates some pretty good space. And one of the bigger things we struggled with, guys, was especially this year, was when we were into the red zone or the deep red zone or the deep purple black zone, whatever it was, that Ryan Grubb really had some challenges creating space in the red zone. And we're going to look in a second here, a couple of things I saw from Kubiak that I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. So what I want to get
one real quick point that while we're on the man versus zone type discussion, for one thing for people to understand real easily is when you have someone go in motion, you're looking to see which defenders move with the motion man, because
or
that's
don't, right?
Or don't. Yeah. If you do have a defender that moves with the man in motion, it's almost assuredly a man defense. But if they don't move when you have guys moving around, then it's most likely a zone defense.
Okay, thank you. That's good stuff. I guess I was locking on the wide receivers and then watching that with the switch that those guys stick with their guy. So the inside guy stays with, I think that's MVS.
No, they don't stick with the guy. They do the exact opposite. Like, you watch the corner, the lower corner here that's on the slot receiver. He sticks. He's playing this outside zone here in the bottom part of the field, and then the safety, because they're playing two deep safeties. Mm-hmm. They're both the high defenders. So you watch the safety, like whoever's going to come deeper, that's his responsibility, and that's why they pass this off.
Okay, cool. This is useful for me because this is still an area after all these years of watching, and I suspect lots of people, right?
Oh yeah,
they're like, this is so thank you for pausing that there, Brandon and Adam, and giving a little more. For me, I'm like, ooh, I liked what I saw, and I thought that, again, from the ideas of creating space, sucking the linebacker in a little bit. And this is without play action, which they do a lot of. They get under center more when they're not down 17-0 with just 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, and yet they still had some good success. All right, so this next play, guys. Now again, no panic here. So they end up with 3 points on that drive, the one we just saw. So they don't get a touchdown. Now it's 20-13. Cool. They get the ball back, and now there's a minute 55 to go. They're down 7 points, and you can see here, they're at the 44-yard line. Again, no panic. They go back, and maybe it's a Spencer Rattler effect, but he's throwing the ball. You guys can see he's on time. He's having a good game. And guys, they go back to the run game with like a minute 40 to go. And I think this is just smart, free 12 yards, easy climb to the second level. It's a nice kick by Foster Moreau here. It's a great block by Cedric Wilson, blasting the guy coming off the edge there. But tenacity and guys, free 12 yards. What thoughts?
Yeah. I'd be curious to pause it at the very beginning, but go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, you could see, like, based on how they're lined up initially, they're not loading the box. There's plenty of space there. So it is a good look for a run play in this instance.
That would be something as the quarterback as you're going up there, because I don't know how many different times that Kubiak, especially with a young quarterback, gives him 2 plays, as you often hear quarterbacks at the line of scrimmage, can, or whatever it is, get into one of the other looks. But yeah, 7 in the box, you're playing, they got 2 deep safeties. And when you bring the tight end over, all of a sudden you have numbers on that side, and really attacked the lighter side of the formation here. I was just curious how the Commanders ended up with lesser personnel on that side compared to the other, because didn't they have 2 receivers on the bottom side of the screen? I don't know, but either way, they get a nice look and execute it nicely in using more of a gap scheme blocking situation here as well.
And they did. They were loaded on this side more, and then they brought Moreau over. Still, don't know. And really, again, very effective just to get to the second level very quickly. The linebackers are out of the play in a heartbeat, and a free 12 yards. For me, again, I like the fact that we're not panicking. We're at the 44-yard line. The run's working. We don't need to air it out with a rookie quarterback. They're giving us free yards. So, okay, now it's a minute 20 to go. And now you're going to see a little, one of Kubiak's things. He likes to pull the tackles a lot. He'll take his left tackle and pull the tackle left. They didn't do it in this game, but I saw that in some other tape. Here, we're going to see guard Lucas Patrick do a real nice pull with a minute 20 to go, and they're still running the football. It's like, okay, so we got that pull, boom, just a minute 20 to go, and now they're down to the 35-yard line. Just a commitment to just run this team over. This is a hot Commanders team who cannot lose at this point. And yet, guys, down to the 35-yard line they go. Any thoughts on anything you're saying?
Yeah, can I just say, like, what the heck is Dan Quinn doing? There's a rookie quarterback behind the offensive line, and I am not seeing them put any pressure on the quarterback, like, throughout these last series of plays. This would be infuriating as a Commanders fan.
You just think he's going a little too light in general?
Like, see if you can beat us.
Right. Okay. And maybe it is a bit of them just not believing Spencer Rattler is going to pull this off after they're up 17-0. Maybe a twinge of conservatism from the Commanders, which we obviously did not see most of the time. They got hyper aggressive down the stretch and into the playoffs, which, got to be honest, boded pretty well for them until they hit the Eagles, right? All right, Adam, anything you saw on that one from the pull from Lucas Patrick Lucas Patrick?
Yeah. Another gap scheme run. They're pulling the guard, and he is putting on tape his resume to become a breakfast cook because he just served up some pancakes. I love it. That's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to see. All right, so 3rd and 1. At this point, 1:07 to go. Just going to show this one play. This is easy and smooth, out on time. I love the camera guy getting all Godzilla motions here. So shotgun, Kendra Miller to the right. This is easy. Ball's out. Boom. 3rd and 1. Easy conversion. Everybody does it. No big deal. But again, it's like, can I see Geno operating like that? Yes. Why? Because we always see Geno operating like that. So if Spencer Rattler can do it, boy, oh boy, do I know that, Geno can move the chains. All right. It's a minute to go. So a minute now, and let's watch some duo run blocking on this next one. Is this still that? Yep. Nope. Here we go. Yep. Duo run blocking a minute to go. And guys, they are still running the football. And we think we're going to be all-22 next. So, we got this. I highlighted that real quick. Duo climbs up to Wagner, maybe a bit of a hold, gets away with it. But now we're down to at the 16-yard line. 1 minute to go, and they are running the football. And then we got Dante Pettis just clearing house. It's another thing, guys. I saw a tenacious Saints team who they didn't care that their season was over at all. They were playing for this team, and this offensive line was doing work, guys. Adam, your first take on this one?
Classic kind of duo scheme, the double team on the nose tackle there, or the defensive lineman. And I really like how the guard works up to the second level here and goes bam and hits Wagner. And it's a nice scheme there. Brandon, I know when we watched a little bit of this, they're getting down here. It's tick, 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 down a minute. And it's like, okay, I'm all for running the ball. But then there's a time too, like you kind of just need to throw the ball. Like, and I was starting to be like, maybe we're crossing that line here.
It did feel that way for sure.
Yeah. So I think they heard you. It was tick, 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 ticking. So they did get, quite a bit of yards there down to the 15. There was a broken play, first down, not much to get from it. Nice play. I think Moreau gets some more yards. It might've been different. The third tight end. Either way, you'll see the next play there. They spike it. They're down to, 17. No, yeah. They're down to like 22 seconds to go after that broken play. And here's a play that I despised, right? So obviously I've been getting really excited. Going to pause it real quick here. You got, I think you have 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end. I think it's Juwan Johnson, number 83 that's in tight there. And what I really don't like about this play is this play reminded me so much, guys, of like 80% of our deep red zone crap this year, where what part of the field did we like refuse to use in the deep red zone, Adam?
I'm going to go for what is the middle for 500, Alex?
Brandon, circle, take the square. What do you think?
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Right. So this is the one play with 22 seconds to go. Play it through. All right. He gets flushed, tries to get a little backdoor action there. Doesn't work. And I forget if I saw, do look at it one more time just to show there's no action in the middle of the field. What are we doing? Doing? Tries to make that play happen. I hate it. And I hated it so much because again, it reminded me so much of immediate pressure on the quarterback, nobody over the middle of the field, and making it dead simple for the Commanders to use the boundary and not great creation of space when space is getting tighter. Hated that. I could roll to the next play because I think the next play is like, ooh, Cubes learned really quickly. So one play later, let's compare and contrast. Just let it play out. Here we go. We're going to watch Foster Moreau real quick. He's got space, going to get down to the 1. Cool. That's cool. But like, why was that space available? Well, it's because of the route here. Running things through, attracting 3 guys, maybe not the best play or a little bit lax by that linebacker. But again, compared to the play previous, guys, I thought this was a nice example of I'd much rather see this use of space versus the play previous. Brandon, any reaction?
Yeah, nice little fake by the receiver too as he gets toward the middle of the field, as if he is catching the pass, and they get the first down there. That's you would like to see that. Maybe the reason why they're so bad on third down, or Cubes is so bad on third down, is because he just wants to be really good on fourth down.
It could be. Adam, how about you? Anything you like about this one?
All right. The previous play, that was definitely a zone beater kind of play. You watch all the receivers go and just sit in a spot, and they ended up with man. Like sometimes you just get got. And I would prefer to see a play that has one side of the field with a zone beater and the other side with a man beater. And again, they didn't give him any sort of indicator with motion before that. What I like about the play that you had just put up, the last one here,
it's coming
is that they leave the tight end to block Moreau, and they do the thing that I wish we would do more, where they keep him in there, act like you're blocking, let the receiver clear out some space, and then leak out late. That's tough for a defense to deal with, especially when you're like, oh, nope, don't have to worry about him. He's blocking. Then you start looking at the other receivers, and all of a sudden he's popping out for a pass.
Yeah, nicely done. We did see some of this, I'd say some things like that later in the year. I remember AJ Barner had a nice touchdown, maybe the game before last, or maybe the last game, on something similar, different conceptually, but still mentally on the same wave there. And I think usually really effective. And one thing I think we could look forward to, it also bleeds into a bit, guys, about Kubiak's mentality and ability for these teams to be spaced well, timed well, and then also screen the ball well. Kamara has been an awesome screen weapon, and he was really good in 2024 as well. Didn't do a lot of it in this game, but again, a lot of offensive weapons are stripped down. So they're down to the 1 yard line. This is pretty cool. And they spiked the ball. There's 4 seconds to go. And what we're going to show here, guys, is Foster Moreau's the hero. And we want to look at, like, why is he the hero? But Foster Moreau, quick little out, boom, ball's in his chest. He does the Mark Andrews there and actually catches the ball. And we're about to, we think about to tie the game. But what I wanted to show here and highlight, little rub concept, but does it completely legally. It's on time. I don't think Spencer Rattler actually played pretty damn good, maybe his best game as a pro. And if we're down in small, tight zones, guys, I like everything about this play concept. And Brandon, tell me why you like it.
I like it because the guy is open and he delivered the ball to him for the score. But the one thing I didn't like, well, maybe we'll get into it a little bit more because there's still a play after this.
There is one more play. So Adam, we run rub concepts. Tyler Lockett's run these for eons. I think every team runs this.
Yeah.
But again, creating space where you need to create space. What are you saying?
Yeah, pretty boilerplate kind of stuff here. The thing that has been irking me as we continue to go down play after play after play, is Spencer Rattler allergic to the ass cheeks of centers? Like, is there a reason we can't get under center and go play action at all? Like, I haven't seen one play action in this entire thing or one play from under center.
Yeah, I do think, and I would hope, it's a great point, and there was less of that than, the Kubiaks of the past. I do think it's also a consequence of being down 17-0 with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, and with Spencer Rattler, who was played a couple of weeks, got yanked, put back in, and maybe they're just like, he's more comfortable in shotgun. I could get there. I could get there.
I'm sure he is. And that is one thing, that their play action rate and their under center stuff, percentage wise, went down dramatically throughout the course of the year.
Yeah.
And,
correct.
something to keep an eye on.
Yep, for sure. So we got one more play, as Brandon said. We're going to see they're at the left hash. They decide to go for 2 as opposed to tying the game up. They bring Moreau in motion here. They just sprint right, kind of a college-y play, throw the ball on the run. It's incomplete. The one thing that I'll highlight, and I think I slow down the next frame as well after this one, is, hey, the ball's there. Is it my favorite play? No. It's really dependent. It's going to Juwan Johnson. Is he the most sure-handed guy? No, but again, talent deficit. But is it on time? Is the ball there? Yeah. It should have been a win, right? So it should have been a win. Brandon, I know that maybe you were hinting at this play as well. So what did you want to say?
I was just annoyed by the fact that, hey, we scored back in down in that same corner of the end zone. Hey, let's go to the exact same spot on the very next play.
The one piece that I liked about that, not going back to it, but for you to borrow one of your terms, the process to get back to that same corner in the end zone, to go from the left hash and use that kind of, for me, very college-like. You see Notre Dame run this for eons, but okay, we're all going to migrate right and try to isolate one guy, which is what we saw. Adam, your take on this final play call?
Yeah, I think Brandon's official quote when we watched this on our little trip was, yeah, and then they run the same freaking thing a second time, but was super annoyed by it. And it's not exactly the same. You're not using a rub to try to get the guy open here, but
yeah, it's like the same, but worse.
I hate this. One, all right, we're doing this out of gun. All right, fine. Secondly, we're gonna go sprint right and basically give him one option that he can throw to, and you're cutting the field in half when you have to have it. If this is a second down play where you feel like, hey man, maybe the quarterback is just able to, get out with his legs and maybe sneak in for a touchdown with his legs, or we get that guy open, and then if it's incomplete, then all right, fine, we'll go to third down. We'll let the quarterback be able to use the whole field. This is like putting all your eggs in half a basket.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That was the biggest piece for me was it's Juwan Johnson. There's not a lot of talent here, but if you're going to dial something up to go to one guy, if you're UNC and you're like, we're going to get one guy shot and it's Michael Jordan and we're going to make sure he gets the shot. Okay. I understand that. To do everything you just said, to throw it to like what I think is your second best tight end. That's rough. Was it executed well? Should it have been caught? Yeah. But again, process wise, for Brandon's sake, and he's right, I didn't love it either. But that's how they end the game. The Seahawks actually could have used this loss by the Commanders. They don't get it. The Commanders win. And that was our all-22 review of Kubiak. So as I said earlier, guys, the big thing for me was I wanted you to be a bit more fired up. That hopefully what you saw here got you excited, got you more excited, right? And so we went through a bunch of it, from 17-0 to a 1-point loss. Do you feel any more excited than before, Brandon?
I feel less excited when I look to the very next week and I see that they get shut out by the Packers.
Brandon, you're Adam. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, about the same. Look, it's a professional NFL offense. Hooray for that. This particular game, and knowing how their season went as a whole in their play action usage and all of that stuff, it's concerning. And knowing that some of the third down numbers aren't quite what you would hope for, it's a little concerning. Getting down at the goal line there and never being under center, and then running the football a lot earlier in the drive, but now we're down at the goal line and we can't run the football. It's not like you're going to have guys way down the field in that situation. You can get them back to the line of scrimmage. I guess, I don't know.
We're out of timeouts. They used their third timeout with what, 28 seconds left. Yeah.
But if you're not running the ball so much a little earlier in that drive, you're going to have a little more time on the clock, and maybe you can still do that. Look, one of the things that we said on the flagship show is the most impressive thing to me about Sean McVay is that he can take the B team, roll out there, and be competitive with just about anybody.
Yeah.
And Kubiak took the B team and went out there and was competitive with a team that was in the NFC Championship game. And there's something to be said for that. And that's something to be excited about.
Yeah. So I have easy time replacing that squad in my brain and forecasting better. Yeah, a little bit of wish casting. Okay. Now that does have to come along with an offensive line that's improved, and that offensive line that we watched right there was better than most Seahawks offensive line throughout the year. Better protection for the most part, better run blocking in certain. And I really wasn't cherry picking. There weren't that many plays in the second half There were some I didn't show that were like broken plays. There were some I didn't show that were like, it was a negative play, but it was like a bad throw, things like that. Right. So it was really just like a pretty smooth second half. And I could easily see Seattle just talent-wise helping Kubiak have the be surrounded by the most talent he's had so far, and that includes that Minnesota team. I think it's a more balanced team, and I would still take Geno over that 2021 Kirk. I think they're probably close, but I think Geno is still a more well-rounded quarterback in my opinion. So, Brandon, as we close it out, any other pieces for you, my man?
Hey, thanks to you, buddy, for putting this together. This was fun to go back and rewatch, especially in a game where, the opponent, and that was really one of the things that we talked about a little bit in the flagship too, was that of all these games, despite the Saints and their talent level, they had multiple games against playoff teams like the Rams, like the Eagles, this one against the Commanders, and then against the Bucks, where that all came down to the final possession and them having an opportunity. And the talent wasn't quite there, but Geno with his fourth quarter comebacks that we've seen him deliver, you could see that if you can keep it one score within these games, I think having Geno Smith and with his experience in those moments, you could see the outcome being a little bit different.
For sure. So you guys were down in Dallas. I'm breaking down tape. Adam, what do we want them to do if they're getting value, they're appreciating? It's our off season. We are not resting on our laurels. So what do we need the Flockers to do out there?
Absolutely. You just watched Clinton put in yeoman's work here and put together a pretty complete film study on a game. And if you appreciate that kind of thing, first off, make sure you buy enough beer when you watch one of these, because this ends up being about an hour. So get drunk while you're watching this. It's going to be a good time. That's what we want you to do. And then secondly, even if you're a minor, no, don't. I'm totally kidding.
Root beer.
But yeah, root beer after that. Leave the daddy beers to adults. But when you're done with that, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it with a friend. You could not do it, but that'd be lame. So just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, and I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.